Hello, everybody. It is Friday, the 11th of April. Been trying to make a video for days now, and I hope I get it together today. I want to talk about man, human, man in this world, the level of consciousness that is man in this world, that would be human. There may be consciousness in other worlds on the level of man, but they wouldn't be human, they would be according to their world. And why that level was created, or why something tried to create that level in this world, and what the intention was in the first place in creating us, and what the whole, what should the meaning of this, the purpose of all of this be. So, what we are, consciousness. I think really the Hermetics, and to some extent the Kabbalah, they had actually the right idea about what we are. I want to talk more about, not the Hermetics, the Gnostics. I want to talk about the Gnostics and what they actually saw in the Pleroma, the Aeons, which are not gods, they are not beings, but they are the building blocks of consciousness. So what they saw was themselves on the level of spirit and what creates consciousness. And what they saw were different parts. Yeah, consciousness is made up of different parts that come together to create a knowing. So then that is on a higher level the reality of us. We're not just one thing. We're made out of many different parts that cooperate with each other, that give to one another, that come together in order to create. And then if you look at this world, man in this world, the world is again created in the same way. Physical nature is created in the same way. There are different parts that come together to create a whole. So then, it is definitely I would say the reality of this world, that is how it's been built, through cooperation of different parts to sustain life for all. Life being the physical experience, but it is the spirit in the first place that creates the outcome, which is the physical. So as above, so below. So, and then I was thinking, if you can see that as the truth in this world, then is there a wider reality outside of this world? Another web of life, a web of planets, where those that are of the same intention are connected to one another. And again, there be a sharing of knowledge in order to serve, in order to give, in order to serve others. Other levels of man whose consciousness has grown out of a different experience, and out of that would have come a different knowledge. You can already see this in this world. It's already happened in this world, again in the small. You can see what might be a reflection of the larger thing. In this world, we have knowledge that came from different regions of this world. Cultures that were at one point separated from one another, and that grew their own unique knowledge. And that then they came into contact with one another, and that knowledge was being shared, and it kind of lifted all of humanity. Well, okay, in some cases it made it worse, depends on the knowledge and what you do with it, but should that be the idea? The idea of diversity, the sharing of knowledge, of the cooperation with one another to make life existence better for all. And not only in this world, but as I said, there might be a wider reality where the same principle is being worked amongst worlds. Now we are definitely not a part of that at the moment. And here is, if consciousness does develop according to free will, especially once you've reached the level of man, you should have self-determination. You're able to think, you're able to have imagination, you're able to think of possibilities, you can choose a path where you go. And there may be those that have taken the wrong path. Not only in this world, but again, as above, so below, or as below, so above. And that is that knowledge is the path that knowledge is being given to rule over. That it kind of elevates you above the rest, and that you can then have dominion over the rest, and that is the whole purpose of creation. You know? Survival of the fittest, survival of the strongest, rulership of the strongest. That is a different way of seeing yourself in a reality. Not the web of life, not the cooperation, but the, as I said, the struggle, and the strongest and those that have the most knowledge are there to rule, and their will must be done. That's a different way of looking at things. But to me, that is the darkness. And you can see it in this world, those that are possessed by that thought of I am the strongest and I will have dominion over others. They are the most destructive force, destructive to all life on this planet. So, there you can see the darkness. Darkness is a destroyer. It will destroy. It will not give. It will not make anything flourish. You know, it just creates death and destruction. And here I really want to take you back to Psalm 82, which came to me yesterday, which I really think describes this. So Psalm 82 says, God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judges amongst the gods. Gods, many. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the person of the wicked? Selah. Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and the needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them of the hands of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Ye are gods, you are the elevated ones, but all are children of the Most High. And here comes the darkness that came into the world. The will to have dominion. Knowledge was given to rule over. And with that comes war, pestilence, the riders of the apocalypse. And we are walking on in darkness now. And here comes the foundations of the world are out of course. What was the foundational thought? What was the foundational desire? Was it to grow a knowledge that can then cooperate with all other knowledge in the cosmos? To become a part of a greater web of life than the web in this world. Was that the original intention? Well, then we are definitely out of course. Of course, completely. We're going into the darkness. Now, I mean, the darkness has been in the world for a long time. Again, I think it was the contact with other beings in physical reality that were in the darkness themselves, and that led us on the wrong path. And one of their greatest prophet, I'm sorry, is Jesus. Because he is leading the path to that kingdom. I mean, look at the book of the Revelation, look at the outcome, that is what we're looking at. Yeah? And although the works of the Spirit have to be done first, you have to work it in the Spirit. But by the time the book of the revelation happens, you're looking at a physical reality. You're looking at the fruits of the Spirit, and that will be physical. Yeah? That book is no metaphor for anything spiritual. That's when that thing has come to earth and has become physical. And you will experience it as a physical reality. And then really wonder if you want to go there. But people are going deeper and deeper into the darkness. I mean, they've been told to go there. Go deeper into the darkness to find the light. Yeah, I keep saying if you go deeper and deeper, if it gets darker and darker and darker, that actually means the light is behind you. You're walking away from it. Anyway, but it was Jesus that led. One of the greatest prophets of that outcome. Through the way of the denial of self, of not knowing yourself, of not going according to your own knowing. Our knowing is according to this world. Our knowing is a knowing that should lead to cooperation, to love your neighbor as yourself. Again, love your neighbor as yourself. If you see that as an equation, self equals neighbor. What happens if you say self is nothing? What happens to the other side of the equation? To be equal, the neighbor will be nothing. You make yourself nothing, your neighbor will become nothing. You go in the wrong way. To love your neighbor as yourself, there needs to be a self that loves the neighbor. And if that's not there, there's nothing there that loves the neighbor. But as I say, at the moment, people, they are going into the darkness. They are denying themselves. They're denying solid reality. Yeah. They have separated spirit from reality, which there is no separation. One creates the other. And really, they have become lovers of darkness. They have become lovers of darkness to the point where I think I've just seen another video titled, "Pain Will Bring You Closer to God?" Yeah? I really thinking, my God, how far gone are you? Very far gone into the darkness. They become lovers of pain. Yeah? Lovers of darkness, lovers of pain. Whereas the knowledge of a sound human being, a human being that is of sound mind, let's say it like that, should be that pain, whether that be physical or mental, spiritual, is a sign that there is something wrong. When did these people forget that? If you have physical pain, that means there's something going wrong in your body. If you're suffering depression and anxiety, that means there is something wrong. And not necessarily just inside of yourself, because at that level you are receiving of the energy of everything else around you. So what is causing your anxiety and depression might be that you are under the influence of an energy that is just not good for you. But that is the knowledge of self, the true knowledge of self. Yeah? There is something there that is no good for you on whatever level that might be. And that means it should jolt you, it should push you to do something about it. To change something. To heal something, because there's something not right. But they are now, honestly, like, pain will bring you to God. Go deeper into the darkness. Lovers of darkness. That is what they have become. And again, following Jesus. Absolutely following Jesus. And I've said once before that what is most likely to happen is what happens to the zebra whenever the lion is eating it alive, and that is that its consciousness is stepping aside. It will detach from reality, from the physical reality of what is happening. And then it does no longer fight back, it becomes a willing sacrifice. Which again, look at the book of the Revelation, that is what is going to happen. That physical reality of what is coming into this world is going to be full-on slaughter. And what will happen is that people will have gone that far into pain that their consciousness will have stepped aside. Nothing speaking against it anymore, and they will become a willing sacrifice, and in that you will have followed Jesus all the way to the point of becoming a willing sacrifice. And you're calling that light. You're calling that knowledge of God. Yeah, well, you will get knowledge of something that is calling itself God, but it's not going to be good. It's clearly showing you that it's not going to be good. And the other thing is that clearly Jesus told you over and over again why he was doing what he was doing, why he was teaching that, to be in service of that kingdom. He did not come to save us. He did not do anything for us. I mean, people don't have ears to hear what he said. I'm doing it for the one who sent me, whose kingdom is not of this world. I'm doing it in service to that kingdom. My bread is to serve the one that sent me. I do everything to glorify the one that sent me. I'm doing things to bring people onto the knowledge of the one that sent me. That's why he did it. Not for you. In service to that kingdom. People don't have ears to hear. Or they hear what they want to hear. What they hear is basically based on their own wishful thinking, which is absolutely removed from reality. And it will be removed from the reality that will come if it does become a reality in this world. Solid reality. So that's the bad outcome. That is the bad outcome. How do we get the good outcome? By first of all remembering who we are. We are consciousness that is made out of many parts, that is living in a world that is made out of many parts, that is living in a world, in a solid reality that is based on cooperation. That is, we have grown, our consciousness has grown in this world, according to this world. This world is not satanic. This world is a world of diversity and of cooperation. That is who we are. And then if we become the truth of that again, we can cooperate with one another when we're actually enlightened enough to see that life and togetherness and food and space and whatever for all is actually a good outcome. If we can even see that. Yeah? Many, I say, they can't even see that anymore. Once we become that again, we may know others that are of the same desire, and there may be a greater web of life out there that we can join. But as we are not fit. I think we can't even know. I don't think we can even know them, because we can only connect. Let's say on the spirit, we couldn't know them, because you can only connect to something that is on the same wavelength as yourself. You need to be on the same wavelength in order to connect. And right now, most of this world is not on that wavelength. It does not even have that desire anymore. It is in service to a different desire. And that is the will to have dominion, and that's a completely different wavelength. We're going deeper and deeper into the darkness. I mean, as I said, the way of Jesus could have saved us is that we get into that much pain that it would have woken us up to the knowledge that there is something wrong, that we're going the wrong way. But people have flipped that on its head. Pain is now great. Pain shows you you're going the right way. Love your pain. Lovers of darkness. It's so deluded, it's unreal. And it is so against what we should actually know as our truth. So, again, human, I would say, is the consciousness that is the level of man according to this world. See, there may be other levels of man somewhere else. They won't be like us, because their consciousness was grown out of the experience of a different world. But if we are of the desire to cooperate, to share knowledge, so that it may serve all, that kind of a web, then there is a point there, that desire would be a point on which we can all connect. Again, on the other side, on the flip side, the desire to have dominion, I think many have connected under that desire. Elohim is not just one species, I don't think so. So what desire is it we're going to follow? To be ruled over by some God, or to be part of a web of life? Maybe even a cosmic web of life. And that is the desire, that should be the light that leads us. And according to that, we should gain knowledge. And once we have become that, once we've sorted ourselves out, once we're of sound mind again, then maybe we will know others and go into an expanded reality. Not the way we're going right now. We're going deep into the darkness, and we are loving it. Right. Okay, folks, I leave it at that for today. And I talk to you again soon. Bye.